Hey everyone, and welcome back to another edition of
Assessing Livingston Parish.
Yes, with Jeff Taylor, and your second episode, and very informative your first time around. So we're going to continue on with it, and we got kind of a full docket to talk about today in a little amount of time. And it all starts off with reassessment. She touched on that last week, but this is a reassessment year.
I'm going to tell you that last time, I don't a lot of times get a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
But after the last podcast, I got a lot of feedback. So we was like, okay, this needs to be out there. We need to tell people we are having reassessment. Reassessment is coming. It's not something that I can put off. It's not something that the state is going to allow us.
Yeah.
And I've been meeting with real estate companies, agents. I've been meeting with appraisers, and they're telling me, Jeff, your numbers that you're coming to us with are real. Yeah. They are correct.
Yeah.
So you have put in the time to do that. What that means is, people, you need to pay attention. You need to be very diligent in paying attention. Usually we don't put out our information until open book period in August.
Sure.
We're going to start it early so people can see what is going to happen. We're going to start this probably in May, June, July, somewhere there, so you can come in and look at your assessment.
Yeah.
And you can bring information. Because if we have it wrong, we want to make sure it's right.
Sure.
We want to make sure it's right before the tax notices go out. But if we have it right, it is going to stay where it is. Because the one thing that you and I have talked about several times, everybody wants the value of their home to go up until they have to do the taxes on it or the assessment on it.
Right.
No one wants to buy a home for $100,000 and 10 years later that home is worth $100,000.
No.
No one expects that to be the case. They know
That's
that your biggest investment is your home.
Yep.
And so you want the value of that to go up. My job is to find out what that value is that it went up to.
Yeah.
If there's damage on the home, it will affect the assessment.
Sure.
If it's not, and the sales in that area are showing this much, that's what it's going to be. So it's important that you're diligent about looking at your assessment. The second thing you need to be diligent about is looking at the districts. When are they going to have their meetings? We have been talking to some of the districts about possibly having a one-night meeting.
Yeah.
We have not met very much success with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of them do not want to do that.
Yeah.
And so, but you need to know when they're going to have these meetings, and you need to go in there and see if they're going to lower their millages, because the only way your taxes go up, it doesn't matter what I do with your assessment.
Yeah.
If they adjust the way the law says they're supposed to adjust, your taxes should not take a much of a hit.
Right.
But if I do the assessments where they go, and they raise their millages to the maximum, your taxes are going to go up.
Sure.
And already, look, I understand the frustration. You've got everything's going up. Inflation is driving things up. I'm trying to put an inflation factor into our assessments. But you've got insurance is going up. Flood insurance is going up. Homeowners insurance. All of these things, the cost of doing business is going up in housing and everything.
Yeah.
And so people want to come in. They don't go to a store and complain about the sales tax. They may grumble about it a little bit, but they don't go in there demanding that he change the sales tax because they know he's just doing his job.
Sure.
Same thing with us. When you come into our office, bring some proof. We have no problem with you coming in. We encourage you to. Yeah. We're asking you right now, bring it in. Let us see it, because the numbers are going to be there.
That's right.
And so we got to do our job. We've got a job to do.
Well, and I'll tell you, on those forms that you send out, and I get one every December. Actually, I think I even got a little bit early this year, which was nice because you know what comes at Christmas time.
Yep.
So you want to be able to prepare for that. But it breaks down very well the different millages and where this money is going.
Yep.
So if there is a gripe to be made, it would be with whatever entity you may think is collecting too much of a millage.
Mm-hmm. You've got two different kinds of millages. You've got one millage that automatically reduces.
Yeah.
It's a bond millage. Mm-hmm. So the school board, anybody that sells a bond, theirs adjusts to pay the debt service.
Right.
Okay, so it adjusts down every year.
Yeah.
The other millage is you adjust it, in that same meeting you raise it back up to the maximum so you can take a windfall.
Well, that's why it's important to go to those
It's
meetings,
very
right?
important that you show up at those meetings. It's very important.
Yep. I agree 100%. Now, moving on from that a little bit, let's talk about drones. We talked about those a little bit, and I like the way you put it in the last episode where you said this ain't like a big brother thing. Yeah. This is just to make things, flow smoother and easier for the assessor's office as far as looking at all the property, because property does change. Yeah. Maybe someone added on a building, or maybe they added a pool.
Yep. All of those things come into play. It was costing us so much money to do the flyovers every year.
Yeah.
So we developed this drone program. This in its infancy. We're still working on it. But in its infancy, last week we was at a conference for the assessors. They asked me to put on a program for drones. Yeah. And we had good attendance because everybody was like, okay, you've kind of got it going on over there. Yeah. We're going to use that. We're going to fly it over. We're going to be able to lay it over our maps and show anything that's new. Every 4 years, we're going to do the big flyover, but the drones are going to take the place of that. Sure. And it's allowing us to be more accurate. It's allowing us to do a lot of information quicker because you can stand in one place and fly it, and you can take information, see if anything's new added. It's a big deal for Livingston Parish, and we're very proud of it, actually.
As you should be. And I'll tell you, it kind of goes both ways. If it's a situation where someone may have flooded, it's a way to get back there and see what's going on so you don't over-assess somebody.
That's correct. That's the big thing. Who flooded, who didn't flood, who got hit by the tornado. You can see the after effects of some of it. Yeah. But we don't have an office big enough to drive 140,000 people in the parish. I cannot tell you who all flooded and who didn't. Send that drone up in the air. It's going to tell me where the water is, and then we can come back and lay it over. It's going to GPS it and show us the points that we have, and we know that this area flooded, this one didn't, this flooded, this didn't, this flooded.
Sure.
So it's big.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and you're already speaking on it, and that's a good feather in your cap and a feather for the whole parish's cap. Really.
It's a feather for Livingston Parish. Yeah. Here's our deal in Livingston. So many times people want to say, well, that's just Livingston and everything. I tell them, that's just Livingston. Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah. We're going to be on there. I'm going to make you proud of your assessor's office. You may not like me, but you cannot say anything about the work we do. Yeah. Our work is out there. We put it out there every day. We want you to come in. People that have questions about our office is open. Come in. Yeah. Come in. We'll show you what our drone program is. We'll show you how we do it. We'll show you how we come up with our assessments. We have nothing to hide. You want to see it? Come in. I can show you what your subdivision or your area, I can show you what they're going to be assessed. Yeah. I can show you why I got those numbers. Yeah. So all of those things are open, and it's becoming more and more and more where people are saying, you really are transparent with it. I don't have anything to hide because the truth of the matter is you can get it if you want it anyway. You can do public records. Yeah. Okay. Here. There's certain information you can't get, but most of it you can. Sure. So why not make it available for the people to come in?
That's right. And y'all have always been very transparent, in my opinion, and never one to kind of hide and not tell information. Matter of fact, you go above and beyond to get information out there, really.
I do my best. I've got billboards going. I've got letters that go to people's homes. I've got a podcast that's going now. I'm doing everything I know to get that information out.
That's right. Let me ask you, on that subject, you had mentioned you meet with realtors and realtor boards and things like that, and that is, I guess, to gather information on the market and see where the actual real estate market itself is going.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I say, okay, I'm coming in with a list of about 8 to 10 subdivisions. Yeah. Because I'm going to have them for 20 minutes. Sure. I'm not going to bring 100 subdivisions, and we're never getting anything done. No. But I come in and I start talking to them and say, okay, this subdivision over here, Plantation Estates, it's got 4 different classifications of houses. What are y'all finding? And I call them before, and then they come with their numbers. I don't give them our numbers. Sure. I want your numbers. Right. And then when they give me the numbers, we go back and check them. Well, if they're way, way off, then we got an issue. Yeah. But if I'm sitting there and I got $115 a square foot and $116 a square foot, we're pretty close. Yeah. So we'll take that information, and they've been looking at them, and they're like, look, they are what they are. Yeah. They've got people that are buying homes in some of these new subdivisions. Jim, I was amazed, $200 and something per square foot. Wow. They're buying them. But when they come into me, they said, well, it's not worth that much. I had a gentleman one time told me, he said, yeah, I paid that much for it. But really, it's not worth that much. My wife just wanted the house. Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, compared to some areas of the country, I mean, our assessments are very reasonable.
Very reasonable.
You go to New York, California, or some of these places. Even some of our parishes in Louisiana. That New Orleans, same piece of properties. $500,000 for $200,000 property here.
Absolutely.
So,
I had a lady tell us. I had a wedding that I attended within the last couple of weeks. And she said, I don't come out to Denham Springs and Livingston Parish that much. I had no idea they had houses that big out here.
Yeah, well, there you
Start
go.
to learn about Livingston.
That's
You're gonna
right.
like it.
That's
The
right.
more you learn about Livingston, the more you like. We're open. We're open for business out here. We enjoy people coming to live out here. We want to do it smart, but we want to make sure our assessments are correct. That's my job. That's the only job I have, is to make sure your assessments are correct.
That's it. And you're doing a good job of that. With regard to these district meetings that they hold, how would one go about finding more information on that? If it's a library board meeting, for example, I know you can go to the, I would imagine you can go to the website there for the library, and they probably post it. But what about these meetings for like the fire department or one of the other millage?
All of them are supposed to have
Base
it
meeting.
posted on their websites.
Okay.
We're going to post them.
Yeah.
As they call us and let us know when their meetings are, we're going to post them on our website. And that
Very
way you
good.
can get one big list. Because if you go to a fire district, you got to go to another website. You got to get one. You got to go over here and get this. We're going to have them all listed on our website that you can see one. We hope that we have a large group of them that want to have one meeting.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for.
Make it a lot easier. For
Yeah, we're
everybody.
already hearing, we've always had our meeting in our office. Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Because the law does not say you have to have it there. It just says you have to post where you're going to have the meeting.
Right.
So you can post that you're going to have it in one meeting as good as you can in your office.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
I'm not getting overwhelming support for a one-night meeting, and you know why.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll come around, because I think it's a very convenient thing for the people of the parish to be able to go one night and just hear, all these different topics come up. And
What are we
and
supposed to be
everybody talk
about?
about these millages.
Making it easier for our people.
That's right.
We can either make it easy or we can make it tough.
Yeah.
Look at the ones that want to make it easy.
Yeah. That's right.
Look at the ones that want to make it easy.
The value is the value on these homes. It's something that you can't really play with those numbers. It is what the market is commanding. Is that correct?
That's right. Oh, absolutely. That's what the market's commanding.
Yeah.
We've got low inventory because some people are willing to pay a lot more for it.
Sure.
I can't help that.
Yeah.
They create the numbers. You create the value. A willing buyer and a willing seller creates the value.
Yeah.
It does not ever say in that book, Jeff Taylor creates the value. A willing buyer, willing seller, value.
Yeah.
And so I have to take those numbers that have sold. What I bought my house. I'm never going to sell my house. I understand.
Yeah.
But if you did, this is the current value. My job is to make it fair and equitable.
Right.
Fair and equitable.
Yeah.
And if you think we're doing it wrong, bring your information in. No problem. Bring a current appraisal. Bring me your insurance papers. No problem. Because we're doing our work. And look, we're going to make some errors.
Sure.
So that's why we're opening it up for you. We was the first ones to go. We really pushed for all the assessments to go online.
Yeah.
That was way back in 2001, 2, 3, somewhere in there. Yeah. We pushed for that.
Yeah.
Okay, we got pushback from it because people said, "Oh, I don't want people to." Well, you didn't want them to see that you were lower than them.
Right.
So I was going to go ahead and do that because what we found was there was people that was willing to call about their neighbor and say, "Wait a minute, my neighbor, his house is not 1,200 square feet; it's 1,500 square feet."
Yeah.
And so they started giving us information. We're not here for a tattletale and stuff like that.
Right.
We're here to get the correct information. That's all I want.
That's it.
Once I get the correct information, the numbers are going to be there.
Yeah.
But it's impossible if somebody comes in and we haven't went out and put a tape measure on the house, or we haven't got MLS or something, and they say they're 1,200 square feet and they really got an 1,800 square foot house and they're selling for $100 a square foot, $120,000 versus $180,000. That's what people don't understand.
Big difference. Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's going to affect your taxes is millages.
Yeah.
$1 million assessment with 0 mills, 0 taxes.
Yeah.
If you don't lower your millages, you're going to take a windfall. Period.
Right. When you determine these, I mean, there's a lot that goes into determining that value. Obviously, meeting with the agents, as we talked about. the scarcity of homes in the market will affect it heavily if there's low inventory. And do you base it off of sales around that area? So if it's a house in the neighborhood and then 4 houses down sold and one across the street sold,
if they graded out the same,
Yeah.
you've got different classification. You got a house built in 1980 and you got one built in 2000. They're not the same house.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you say
Great
about it.
point.
You got other things inside that have been fixed up.
Sure.
So we grade them out
Yeah.
and put them in a group. All the ones that are homogeneous and the same, we're going to put them in on a price per square foot.
Yeah.
You may be next to a house that is overbuilt for the subdivision. We got to take that into account.
Sure.
But we may have a subdivision. Plantation Estate started being built in 1980, all the way through 2023. They just had a house built in there.
Yep.
Okay, so those houses are not assessed the same.
Right.
So we have to grade them out.
Yeah.
And sometimes we miss it. If we do, we want to get it right.
But bring your proof in.
Bring your proof in. That's all.
You can't just walk in and say it's wrong.
How much fairer can you be than to say, I may be wrong?
Sure.
Come prove it. Bring it in to me. I'm not going to just change it because you said this.
Yeah.
That's the way it was always done, and that's why people have grown accustomed to, we just call up the assessor's office, they change it. Jeff don't.
Yeah.
Jeff goes through there, and we look at them and everything, and if it's right, I look my mom in the face and say, this is what it is.
Yeah.
If I'm going to look my mom in the face and tell her that, I can promise you I'm not going to change somebody else's.
Yeah.
She's 83 years old on a fixed income.
Yeah.
So if we're going to do all this, I'm going to prove it. Make sure that you bring your proof in. That's fair. If I treat everybody the same way, they're going to still say that, oh, you're a friend of Taylor, that's why you're getting it.
Yeah.
Ask my friends. They ain't real happy. Yeah.
Well, and at the end of the day, the thing about it is, hopefully your friends do realize you don't have any control over
Nope.
that.
I'm going to do my job.
And you're not getting the money from that. That's going towards all these millages that are put on that. If you're curious, get your bill, and they're very transparent. It's all on there for you to see.
Bring it in. We'll pull it up for you on the deal. It's just there's no way to be any fairer than that.
That's right.
And you bring it in, and I've had people that really have been against me. They have really fought me on different things. And when they finally do come in and stop all of the keyboard cowboy and all that kind of stuff, they come in, and I take them through and show them what we do. They're like, well, that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's it. Fair. And the value is the value. 23 years, Jeff.
23 years.
Seemed like 23 years to you?
The gray hair seems like 23 years. I was looking at it the other day. When I started, my little girl was 2 years old.
Wow.
My little boy was, he had just turned 5 or 6. He was born in 95. I took over in 2000. So he would have been 5 by that time. And my little girl was actually 2.
Yeah.
And so I've been there a long time, but what seemed like longer is when we first started out, the first several years when nothing was right.
Yeah.
And we were having to fix it and change the atmosphere and change the attitude about what we was going to do. Yeah. And the districts now know that when I send them numbers, they can set their budgets based off those numbers because we've worked hard to make sure that they're accurate. Yeah. We have purged off the stuff that's no longer there. It took us a long time. You don't realize how long it takes to measure 90,000 properties. Yeah. Well, when you put the numbers to it and you show the number of people that I'm able to afford to go out there, you may end up doing 3,000-4,000 a year. Yeah. You got 90,000.
That's unbelievable.
So it took us all this time, and we have been very diligent about it. My people stay out in the field. Look, people come in and say they don't do anything. Come ride with us. Come ride with us. You'll be tired by the end of the week.
Yeah, you'll be tired. That's a lot to do, and you've really brought technology to the forefront of that office. So many things that y'all have done, even from just the software. Mm-hmm. You recently have been working with state-of-the-art software.
Prices just started. When I first started, when I say we had open book period, we said this last time. You walked in, we opened a book for you. Yeah. And you flipped through it, and we found your assessment, went down and read your assessment. Yeah. We updated that to a system that we could work in. And then we had cards that you would have to go in, and we'd put them back in there, and we'd say, okay, we worked this. Oh, wow. In the meantime, we've done software. We've done mapping. Now we're into drones. We're into a new software that's even doing more a GIS, a GPS on your mapping that would drone you out and show you where you are instead of guessing and having to go back and look at your map, which is good.
Sure.
People use our map all the time and say, man, it's great. And then I see this next piece of technology and I'm like, man, my map's not that great because they don't have this right here. So we go and add that.
Yeah.
And then recently years ago, I gave it to any entity. Yeah. And so the parish is called out and they said, okay, so can we start getting the map and using it for a dressing system?
Yeah.
I said, absolutely, it's your map. All you got to do is we're going to host it for you. You come over here and tell us what you want on there. We have no problem. If you saw in the paper yesterday, they had a deal about these schools that now you can go into and you can take a round picture of all of the classrooms and everything, all the rooms in that building. We can put it on live, and when the sheriff's office goes out, they can hit that thing and they know where everything in that school is in case we have an active situation. You can go to a home and you know the trees and the sheds and everything that is behind that because of our flyovers and everything that we're doing. That's important for our law enforcement. It's important to know where all of our fire hydrants are for our firemen. Minutes can save a home.
Absolutely.
And so all of those things are things that we're working on. And I saw it in the paper yesterday. And my people at the office are like, we're fixing to do this, aren't we? I said, yeah, we're going to do this because it's important.
That's it. Well, you said it last episode. Why not Livingston, baby?
Why not Livingston?
Why not?
Why not Livingston? Why can't we be the leader in this state?
That's right.
Everybody always talks about how Louisiana is the worst and the baddest and everything like that. Why can't we lead that? Why do we want to be in the back? 100%. I want to always be out in front. I want people to turn around and see Livingston, and I want to be bragging on Livingston. This is how you do it when we do it Livingston.
That's it.
I don't like the one where it used to be, this is the way you don't do it.
Yeah.
I want to be the way you do it.
I like it. Well, thank you for coming on and giving us all this information. We're going to get it out there, and any more information that you need, you can reach out to the assessor's office. We'll put all their information on the description of this video.
Yes, please do. And call us. You hired us to do a job. We're there. Call us. If you got questions, we want to answer them.
That's it. We'll see you next time, Jeff. Thank you,
Jim. Thank you.